to believe it when you cannot see it. You gotta be possessed with the dream. The dream. Yeah.
What's up, guys? Straight from the chest, Sunday. I hope you guys are having a great day. I'm your host, Justin Groth. This is my podcast. It's a personal development podcast, people. So if you're looking for something in lines with that, then this, I hope, serves you well. Guys, look, I learned something about myself just recently, and it's that I don't like driving passenger in other people's cars. I just don't like it. I feel as though that I just don't have any control, and that's something apparently that is important to me. And I realize this because I find myself getting stressed out or immediately having anxiety every time I'm in the passenger seat. Now, certain people it's at low levels, other people it's at high levels. Like, I'm gonna put my mom on blast here, but with my mom, it's at high alert. She probably doesn't know this about me, but she knows now. It's high alert, man. I tell you, I get really anxious when I'm in the passenger seat of her car. Maybe it's because she drives a lot like me, but because I'm not in control, I don't know if she's gonna hit that car in front of her because she gets so close and rides the person's butt so close. Look, that's what I do. But at least because I'm in control, I know that I'm not gonna hit the person. I know within my distance where I should be or how close I really am. But, because I'm not driving, I just get anxious and not like frantic, but just kind of just anxious. That turns into frustration. That turns into irritability. And it's all because I cannot control the car because I'm not in the driver's seat. And so I'm sorry, Mom, but that's the way I feel. But listen, it's like that in multiple avenues of my life. I feel like just it's not just correlating to cars or being in the passenger seat, but I think that's the reason why I'm a business owner, because I want to be in control of all the properties. I want to be in control of all the faculties, right? Not because I'm this egocentric person. Well, to some degree, I feel like I am, but that's another topic. I feel like I just need to be in control. That's where I feel I'm producing my best, is when I'm in control, not when I'm under someone else's law. But I also realized about myself that if I want to be my best, I need to be under God's law, period. If you want to be your best, you have to be under God's law, period. And that comes at the price of understanding and surrendering to the fact that you literally have no control over anything. You have zero control. And that's a hard pill to swallow, but that's fact. You can't control anything. And even though you think you can control everything, that's just your audacious attitude. That's just an egocentric attitude. But it serves no bearing. You really do not hold any control. The only thing you hold control over is waking up in the morning, deciding to get out of bed or not. That's the only control you really have. The other form of control comes with way of action. And that's just a passive form of control. You being active with your hands, building things, creating things, you can somewhat control that. But really, everything comes from God. You may not believe that. You may not want to agree to that. That's okay. We can agree to disagree. But to me, that's factual. Everything is in control by God. And just because you built a business, just because you made enough money to buy your car, does not mean you're in control of your surroundings. Because I think you can relate well to this. One thing can go awry, and it frustrates you to no end. It irritates you, and you end up maybe stopping what you're doing with regards to that task or that thing that you were trying to build because of one thing that got in your way, right? You really don't have control. All you can do is be your best. All you can do is be active and live with action every day. Continuously work and work with integrity and work with regards to your wherewithal, what you have in you. But you really have no control over what's going to happen. I think that I believe that this is something that I'm coming to cope with more and more, because I literally feel that as much as it can play a custodial role in my life, I may think I have control over certain elements, over certain properties or faculties, but I really don't. The only thing I can control is if I'm living in an integral way, if I'm following God in the plans that He has for me. The thing is, guys, your plan, your purpose, it was already laid out for you. This is something that Jesus already laid out for you years and years and years and years and years ago. Jesus isn't really walking by you. He's walking in front of you. He's already led your path. But as humans, as us having free will, it's one of the hardest things to A, understand that is in place, and B, have the confidence to follow it, knowing that we are built for more, knowing that we're created for more than what's around us or what our friends are doing or what our family did before us. That is where the true struggle lies. Having the confidence to understand that you were created for more, and understanding that God already laid the course out and He already knows how it's going to fall. The only thing you have to do, but it's the biggest thing, is be obedient and follow and trust and believe. And that all those things seem so artificial. They seem so hard to grasp. They seem so cliche. But the constructs that you should follow are that of believing, being confident, understanding that the past's already been laid out for you. It's not of your own doing, of your own manifestation. See, that's the ego gloat in you. That's because you're man, and because you want to thrive in your accomplishments. But you, apart from Him, have no accomplishments. Your accomplishment is just by nature you being alive. And that's all the grace of God too. You get that, right? So if you understand that your life and death is at the grace and the mercy of God, you understand that your accomplishments are of God. Anything you're doing is by the favorable hand of God. Or, we've talked about this before, the favor of the devil. It just depends on what avenue you're really in life. Because the devil can give gifts just like God can. But obviously one leads to death and the other leads to life. There's a quote by Denzel. It's my favorite quote by him. And he says, you can do a whole lot, something to the effect of, you can do a whole lot and think you're getting a whole lot done, when in reality, you're not getting that much done. You're not moving that far. And how many times do you race on the freeway, try to get ahead of somebody, going 10, 15, 20 miles over the speed limit, all to end up in the same position, you behind that person or you right in front of that person on the off-ramp. But you sped 15, 20 miles over the speed limit. Why are you not massively ahead of that person? Why aren't you at the third stoplight off the off-ramp when that person is just getting off the off-ramp? You have no control. That's just a little analogy, but have to understand your moves, your opportunities, your graces, your favor, that's not given to you by you. You didn't make that happen. Do you think that Kanye West or Jay-Z or Lil Wayne, you think they were just, or Eminem, do you think they were just, they worked really hard to develop their lyrical ability, and then all of a sudden they made the right move and they were directed in the path towards this person or that person that elevated them to the next level? No. They were preconditioned. Their opportunities were already laid out ahead of them. And you could take that same dynamic, apply it to other influential people in this world. I'm not saying that Lil Wayne and Jay-Z and Kanye West are influential, but they are to some regard. They are to some people. They're not every single one of their lyrics are crap, or not every single one of the things that they're saying is less than, or shouldn't be, or should just be acquitted. Not everything that they say is not righteous, or not righteous. I shouldn't say that. You get what I'm trying to go after. There are some good things. There are some good principles to what they're saying, to the things that they talk about. You know, they put out content that helps you to relate, that may be helping somebody in poverty, you know, give them hope that there's more to life than selling drugs. There's more to life than gangbanging. There's more to life, period. They didn't make that on their own. You get that? That was already planned for them. There was a plan for Beethoven. There was a plan for George Washington. There was a plan for Abe Lincoln. There was a plan. It's not something that they made on their own. Sure that they believed in themselves, and well, let me back up, because that was major right there. I don't know if you caught that. But those people that I'm speaking of, there's one common denominator with every one of them. It's that they believed in themselves. They believed that there was more for them. And so they kept going. They kept going amidst failure, amidst of trial, of challenge, or people subduing them. They progressed because they believed, because they understood that the desire within their heart, in their soul, was in essentially God's proof to them that He's already identified the path for them and that it's already theirs. See, that's the beauty of having desire, albeit good. Albeit your desire is good and to help and to further people for their better. If you have that desire in you to produce, that's God's proof that He's already gone ahead of you and laid out the path for you to serve in that desire, that desire is already yours. But you, the human, you have to prevail. You have to go against every naysayer. You have to go with your belief, with the desire, even if no one else is on your team. That's how you develop character. That's how you develop perseverance. That's how you develop resiliency. That's how you are going to leave your legacy. That's how you're going to fall in your purpose. But having those faculties are so hard. I'm telling you. They try you and they challenge you to no end. They're having that ability to go against those measures are what lead the good to being great. But that's why there are so few great on this planet. It's not because God only made a few great. God made all of us great. All of us. But it's the lack of understanding that belief within us and following that desire that leads to that person exiting their and foregoing their plan, foregoing their purpose, foregoing the thousands or millions of people that they could affect. That's the reasoning why people are so diluted, because they don't believe. And they allow other people in. They allow other people's thoughts of themselves or mental positions to that person. They allow them to hold more weight in their life than what God holds over their life. They allow that person to have more control than the person who is actually in control. That's God. You allow your mom or your brother or your best friend to have more control over your purpose in your life than the one who created you. There's a problem with that. There's a big problem with that. I had a conversation with my friend the other day, and he was asking me, what do I think about what's going on in the news and XYZ? And I said, I don't watch the news. I don't watch the news for one reason. Because I can't control anything in the news. I have no bearing over anything. So I'm not going to waste my mental capacity on things that I have no control over. And I started thinking about that. Why am I worrying or wasting time in areas that I can't control other than news? Like, for a perfect example, my desire to be X, my desire to live into that purpose, my desire to fulfill that legacy. Why am I trying to control it, thinking that it's going to come by way of more Instagram posts or more productivity with regard to talking to people or getting out there, so to speak? Like, that's not what's going to produce. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to be called upon. If you're good enough, when the time is right, when God has oriented that time, you'll be called upon. That's not something you can control. You cannot control that. God is in control of that. One touch of his favor changes your life. Just like one wrong move can change your course of direction too. I mean, it really sets the inferiority in place with regards to you being the human that you are. And it's hard to live in that understanding that you don't have control. But once you realize you're not strong enough to have the control you think you have, the far better you'll be, the far less stressed you'll be, the more productive you'll be, and you'll actually be living in that opportunist state, because you'll be able to see and hear clearly, because you won't be wound down with doing things, doing too much, thinking that your efforts, having that bigoted approach at your efforts and the arrogant approach, that your efforts alone are the thing that are climbing you to the top. It's not by way of your efforts. Sure, you're being proactive, and that's a must. We must be proactive. But it's not by your hustle and your grind that you come into your destiny. It's by centering yourself around the faculties of God, and when he knows you're ready and well equipped for the things that he's already mapped out for you, he puts that divine connection to be met. He intercedes that person in your life. He extends that person's hand that he's already pre-orchestrated for your trajectory shift. He sets you up. He gives you that promotion or that good break. It's not by way of you. Stop being selfish and thinking so, or arrogant. You don't do anything. You just remain. You're active, you're proactive in the things you do. You work, I get it. But you can't make any substantial thing happen. It's by the blessings of God. It's by the grace of God. That's it. Everything. He can take away and he can give. And the more you come with that understanding, the easier things will be. And that's something that I need to practice my own. See, when I get on this podcast and I talk to you, I'm not just talking to you for sake of you. I'm talking for sake of me too, because these are things that I need to continually educate myself on. These are things that I need to continuously remember and remind myself of, because if I don't, I'll subject myself to things lesser than. And I know that I wasn't created for that. I know that I was created for more, just like you. You were created for more, but understanding that you have no control is the biggest alpha thing you can do. Alpha, that's the biggest alpha thing you can do. You know the biggest beta thing you can do is do too much. Thinking that you're going to get further. You don't believe me? Just test it out, man. Test it out. Test it out amongst yourself. Try to do too much of the wrong thing, or too much of the thing that you think is going to work you to the point where you're going to get that break. And then do that for a month. And then on the other hand, for a month, none of you are going to do this, but I'm just putting it out there anyways. For a month, just recline back in the things that you feel a desire for and produce on that function only, on the things that you have a desire for. And remain more calm about your surroundings. Some people would say, don't worry. Sure, don't worry. Do this. Worry about everything for a month, and then another month, don't worry about anything. And see how far you get in both avenues. That's a better illustration. Scratch what I said before. Worry about everything. So basically, be how you are right now. Because I bet you, right now, you worry about everything, even though you tell everybody, no worries, no worries. Yeah, right. Hate that, by the way. Hate that. That's that term. No worries. You worry about everything. Stop telling me no worries. You worry. We all do. We're human. So worry about everything. So live the way you're doing right. You're living right now. And then on the other end for a month, try to live. You won't even make it. Hopefully you will. But try for a month to not worry about anything. Live the reality that God is trying to make you live. You can't control anything. You have zero control. You have zero. Understanding that and holding true to that is going to be the biggest alpha thing you can do. It's just a side note here. I got to talk about this. If you've ever looked at electroencephalography charts, EEG charts, and you see the alpha waves and the beta waves. This can correlate to a lot of males as well. And you see the alpha frequency waves, brain waves in other words. So brain waves are the alpha waves are just a measure between the communication from neuron to neuron. Okay, so when you see the brain waves of an alpha frequency and you see the brain waves of a beta frequency, the beta frequencies are very just, they're uniform points, but there's so many of them. There's literally double or triple the amount in an alpha wave. The alpha waves are consistent in concert. They're very uniform, just like the beta is, but they're very slow and steady. Very slow and steady. The peaks and the valleys are all uniform, but they're further apart. They're calm, but they're still steady. The beta is very erratic. Beta male, alpha male. Alpha male is calm, collect, can make better choices, make better decisions, because he's not functioning in a stressful state. Whereas the beta, worrisome. Now, I'm not saying this is not what beta waves are used for, but beta male, very concerned, very scared, very stressed, because he worries. And because of that, he covers it up with doing things. Gotta be doing things all the time. I'm not against doing things, being proactive. I am against you doing too much as a cover-up to your worry, as a cover-up to your stress, as a cover-up to things that you can't understand. Sometimes it's good that you can't understand. Sometimes it's good that you can't understand the state you're in. The alpha, the wave, is very consistent. It's calm, it's collect, but it's producing. It's got more of an adherence to making the right decisions and functioning off the right prosperous faculties than a beta does. And all too often, we can misconstrue a beta male for an alpha male because we believe doing a lot is what produces. It doesn't. Alpha male is calm, collect, tender, but aggressive. Best of both worlds. Now, we're called to be a lot like Jesus. That's how Jesus was. Perfect bestowment of what an alpha male is. Never erratic. Never thought in an ill respect or base his ration off of emotional regard. Alpha male. Now listen, all that's just side note. I just wanted to illustrate beta and alpha. So essentially, the alpha is trusting. The alpha is trusting that everything is going to work off of the desires that he or she feels intrinsically, viscerally. Those desires that you feel about where you're going in life, your purpose, what you would like to do or love to do, those desires are the reassurance and the proof that God's already made the way for you and that those desires are yours already. But you just got to wait your time, and you just got to go against any challenges or any trial that faces you, because you got to believe that you have more in you that was created for more. You have this confident reassurance in the events not yet seen. That's the faith. But you must have that. You must have that. God's in control, people. He's in control of you. He's in control of me. He's in control of everything. You have zero control.